I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Tom, we don't do enough punk music on our channel. We just simply don't review enough punk music. So we're going to end that today. We're going to review a hardcore punk album from a hardcore punk band from Toronto named Fucked Up. And yes, that is explicit, and I think they like it. Their new album is called Glass Boys. In 2011, they had a just monolithic, just huge album, David Comes to Life.
Yes.
And I remember that being kind of a challenge for us. First of all, it was a very long record.
Yeah.
Fucked Up, their music is very abrasive by nature. It's intended to be abrasive, you know. The vocalist is screaming, usually very harsh scream, and just a lot of distortion on the several guitars and driving bass that you find in hardcore punk music.
Yeah.
But there was that album was heavily conceptual and a longer record. This record is much shorter. I believe that this comes in at like 42 minutes long, and it's only 10 tracks, so it's much more of a consumable listen, and a polished one at that. Now, I always start off these reviews, and then I always pass it off to my friend Tom here, because this guy knows music. And Tom, what do you know about Glass Boys?
Well,
they're breakable.
Don't drop them. Wrap them in newspaper before you move.
Well, we got the shitty jokes out of the way.
Okay. Yeah, and we know that we can swear in this review because the name
we're
of the
saying
band is
fucked up all the time.
So-
This is fucked up.
Okay.
This review is fucked up.
Yeah. Guys, this entire review is very fucked up.
We're
100%.
just gonna have Tourette's for the rest of this review.
Okay, getting back on track here. What I think is neat about Fucked Up as a band is, well, they absolutely do embody that hardcore punk style instrumentally and vocally. I still feel this very uplifting and triumphant vibe when I listen to them.
Almost like Harmonica by Torch.
Yeah, oh, very much. I think it's a great comparison. I was going to say similar to what we heard Death Heaven do last year on Sunbather for metal. I feel like these guys do something similar for the hardcore punk genre. And so, you know, that's something to know going into this, because it's not like Black Flag or something where it's a lot of heavy subject matter. You know, it's certainly some of the subject matter is a little bit, but the way in which they present it, you know, you just feel like you want to party with them. And if you're going to punch someone, you're going to punch someone out of love, because that's what mosh pits are all about, right? So this album, though, it was a bit of a challenge for me, and the first thing I'd like to cite with that is the production. I've actually felt like the production was a little bit weak. In particular, the first track, Echo Boomer, you know, comes in kind of soft. It builds for a while, which I think is a cool way to start the album. And then the drums come in, and then the guitars just blast in, or at least they're supposed to.
It's a wall of guitar.
It is, but it's very mid-rangey. I don't feel like it has the bite necessary to really, like, grab my attention and be in my face. It does it with volume, but I don't feel like it really does it with the actual production. I feel like it kind of washes in with the drums. So I listen to this album a lot on my headphones. I listen to it a lot in my car, and I still just always felt like things were not quite as like gritty and sharp and biting as I wanted them to be. So, you know, it's a little bit of a complaint. Obviously, that's not going to completely kill or save an album, something like production. It can certainly enhance or detract from the listen. But what's more important is the actual songwriting. Right. So getting into that, I really feel like these guys have something good going on. It's certainly not for everybody. Right. But if you like that aesthetic, if you like the intensity, especially in the vocals, man, I mean, this guy, he could have been in a death metal band and he would have been successful. Oh, totally. But he just decided to do this genre, and he's very talented at it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what, you know, something that, you know, just going with the vocals for now, you know, in our Law Dispute review last week, you know, a number of reviews ago, which Law Dispute is a post-hardcore band. This is a hardcore punk band, but the vocals serve relatively similar purposes. Yeah. And we mentioned in that review that a good hardcore vocalist needs to provide a sense of rhythm to the sound. And I feel like this guy is doing a great job of that. Just the way he delivers his screams, his shrill screams is just so rhythmic that it adds another layer of sound to what's already going on. In fact, between the production issues that Tom noted, especially plaguing the guitars, it kind of causes the cymbal-heavy, bombastic drums that are in every single song here to kind of wash out with the guitar. So there's not a lot of clarity between the bass, the you know, multiple layers of guitars, and the other percussive elements, including the drums. There's not a lot of really real precision there. It's just all kind of washed out and together. Really, the other thing besides the kick drum providing the rhythm is the vocals. And
That's
so
a good point.
I really have to give the guy credit, because he wrote his vocal parts to really add a sense of rhythm to each one of these tracks, and he varies it on a number of these tracks. Now, one thing that I actually enjoyed about this album is that these guys went to painstaking lengths to make their choruses more interesting. Now, I would say that this really isn't the most mind-blowing structure, song structures that I've ever heard, but nor is it supposed to be. It's punk music. I mean, punk music is inherently shorter songs, which I'd say most of these songs are average 3.5 minutes long, which is pretty short. Punk music gets a little bit shorter than that, but overall, I feel like the track lengths are kept short, and at the same time, you have these just repetitive structures. Now, it's up-tempo and fun the entire time, which is something that really helps the songs move along. So they're doing enough, I think, with the structure and their sound to keep the track interesting. Now, in the choruses, you usually have some sort of other guitar melody that you can kind of hear, or a bass melody that you can kind of hear. Sometimes I think I'm hearing other instruments there. Like, there's times where I'm wondering if I'm hearing piano in the background. There's times I think that there's harmonized vocals there, but I'm not quite sure if there's more vocals. And that to me is the signature problem of this record, is that the production problems that you noted, I think that they are devastating towards the sound. And I realize now, hardcore punk fans out there, hold on, slow your roll. Slow your roll, bro. I understand that it's not about being produced, like having fantastic production. It's not about that. I get that. I really do. However, when you're doing all this crazy, intricate stuff with all these layers and adding all this different, elements of the composition, and I can't hear any of it when I'm trying my ass off to hear every single thing and analyze every single thing, to overthink to the maximum capacity that I can, which is my favorite thing to do. That's a problem. It actually prevents me from getting and appreciating these songs, and it's a barrier to entry that if I can't overcome it, I feel like most 98% of people can't overcome it, because just with what Tom and I have to do with the 4 albums we review every week, we have to overcome a lot of barriers to entry that preclude a lot of listeners from getting into a certain album. This album really suffers from the shitty production, and I don't know how they fix it. I don't know how they fix it without actually just cleaning up all of these songs and writing them from a perspective that they want to add that clarity without sacrificing that punk edge. That's a tough order, and they just didn't fill it on this album.
You were much rougher than I was, but I totally agree.
Okay.
It's
fucked up.
It is. It's totally fucked up. And the reason that it worked for bands like the Ramones and those classic punk bands, we can't just say that one production style will work for everyone in the punk genre or subgenres, because those subgenres are important. The spin that people are taking on these genres is very important. The reason it worked for bands like the Ramones is because they were guitar, bass, drums, writing 3-chord songs that were just thrashy, and there was nothing more to them. Of course, there's a beauty in that. And so the production style doesn't have to be great, because there's not a whole lot else to bring out in the mix. But these guys, when they're adding the guitar layers, some of those extra instrumentals, when you want to hear the details in what they're doing because they're writing and performing these songs in such a way that has those nuances, the production absolutely has to bring those out, or else what's the point in adding in all of those extra facets to the music? It seems counterproductive to me.
It totally does. Now, we have to give the band credit. They are trying to do things to albumize the record.
For sure.
And lyrical references to other songs, like that stuff I have to give kudos for. Another thing is that these guys are just perfecting the sound. Any of the little hiccups that we noted with David Comes to Life, which was very, very well received by critics, I feel like they cleaned up a lot of that here. The only thing really plaguing this album is the production issue. I would love this album if this production issue were cleared up and I could hear what was going on. Unfortunately, that took a big hit for me, and I'm going to settle on a score of 73, significantly below our average review score of a good album. It's just too big of an issue to overlook.
Yeah, I'm going to give this an even 70. I think it's a good record, but it's not something something I'll probably come back to too much, and I would really only recommend it if you think you're inclined to enjoy this genre in the first place, and if the production isn't a huge deal.
If you're into hardcore punk, this is absolutely an album you need to go check out right now. However, if you're just looking to listen to this record because it's the newest record from a band that you kind of know, you might pass. There's a lot of other good stuff going on right now. Anyways, what did you guys think about Glass Boys? Did you agree with our assessment of the production issues? Did it bother you? Let us know and tell us why at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let Tom or I know if there's any records you'd like to see us review on this channel. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VI and TV, moving music critique forward.